So I've got to do this conversation. So I'm going to be talking with one of my athletes. Her name is Yesenia. She's a junior female in high school playing cross country and track and field. In terms of nutrition, from my perspective, always seems to be pretty good, but definitely some things to think about. So part of what I wanted to talk to you about, Yesenia, was I was wondering, because we've had some things where there's been fatigue. You've also talked about nausea in the morning, which sometimes is just normal getting up early, and sometimes it's other things, which is kind of what got me looking into some stuff. My potential theory, at least, of what might be happening a little bit with some of your stuff. There's also some personal things going on, plus just we're training at 2:30 in the afternoon in Central Florida. It's the middle of the season, so people are tired. But also nutrition, it's hard to get enough with our school lunch. So I'm thinking a possibility of low iron. And part of the reason why I'm thinking that is both in the textbook and in a lot of articles I've had to read lately. Female athletes in particular, there's I think it's 88% of them have low iron of some kind. And you can have a decent level of iron, but because you're a distance runner, you probably need a lot more. So some iron-rich foods, right, like spinach, red meat, fish, is that kind of stuff that you eat, don't eat?
Well, I actually, beforehand, not so much, I'll admit that, but I would, that's why I would take those little supplements. But I would honestly probably that on my end, which I am aware about. But I was feeling a lot better, and since I was running more, especially during last track season, since I was more disciplined, I also just started eating more foods, which meant I did start eating more red meat, and I still do now. So that's why I kind of laid back on those supplements, just because I started eating more red meat and more iron-rich foods. And
Yeah. So I think. One of the things I was reading an article, and it was specifically about a 21-year-old female collegiate distance runner, and it was describing her experience when she figured out it was kind of crap. I feel it was one of the many conversations we've had where it was talking about she's each time I raced, it felt like it was getting just worse and worse, even though I'm training better than ever. She's no matter how hard I run, I feel exhausted. I never feel good when I run, which you do sometimes. So I don't think it's this super low level, but it's definitely something to think. I do see you come in here a lot in the mornings. One thing I was reading is caffeine reduces your iron absorption, and I do know you love your morning coffee. Do you have coffee every day?
I do.
One coffee or
no one.
Okay.
I'm only a one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good about that part.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's something I didn't know that. I probably have low iron, and so another one of your teammates also probably has low iron. We just started taking a supplement.
Yeah.
And he drinks a lot of caffeine. Isaiah loves his black coffee.
I
know he's cut that back.
Yeah, but he admits that for example, he has drinking.
Right. So I was reading that quote from the article. It was just saying that, and I was listening to the experience. That sounds a little bit like what you're describing. Plus, you've got again the fact you're a female athlete, and that's just you kind of have the triad of where you're more at risk for a couple things. So I think something to be paying attention to would be as we move forward is one, maybe getting your ferritin level tested in general, because your iron can be fine, but your ferritin is the pantry that the food goes in, and so you can only store so much. You can have a small pantry and it's full of food, but you can have a big pantry and it's empty. So you probably want to look into getting your ferritin tested. I know Lizzie just did that recently, and her number was okay.
Yeah.
But again, you guys are distance runners who run 6-7 days a week, so your numbers have to be higher than just the regular average person. I mean, I was reading it in here that nutrition professionals, you got to come up with a plan that is going to help somebody, and especially with the energy system you guys use, long distance running. Just today, you were out in the sun, you're drinking your Powerade, right? That's good stuff. I think thinking about getting your ferritin tested would probably be a good idea. And then looking for, you kind of described, ways to incorporate it. Supplements are great, assuming you need it. And then trying to load up on vitamin C, because you need vitamin C to absorb it. So if you never drink, orange juice is great, obviously. I take a vitamin C supplement almost every day just to keep myself from getting sick.
Yeah. Red
Red meat's great, spinach is great, fish is great. I used to do it when I had low iron, spinach on my eggs. And I always thought that helped me a lot. So do you think there's any credence, you maybe having low iron? What you know about it, don't know about it?
I mean, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if I found out I did, where I was on the lower side, or lower than average, and especially since I do run. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised, but definitely would start taking a more actually taking the supplement, taking it more seriously, and just eating more red meat, because even though I do eat more than what I used to, I still know that I could eat a lot more of it. You know?
Yeah.
And just being better about that, and taking like vitamin C and stuff like that. Because
I do know. So Coach Mike, who that's my assistant coach, helps with a lot of this stuff. He just got Isaiah that supplement, and it has like multiple things in it. So it's like a multivitamin, and it has the vitamin C you need to absorb whatever iron's in the supplement. So like that's something to look into. If you don't want to go the whole supplement blood testing route, it is just like adding some extra stuff, and like you can find, like it's all on a lot of the nutrition facts. Like if you look at the, do you ever look at the labels on your food?
sometimes.
Like sometimes. So a lot of times it will say how much iron and vitamin C is in there. So like you can find a cereal. I did frosted mini wheats, like a bowl every day for like 3 months, and I felt so much better.
Really?
Because it's really high in iron, so it was really good for it. And then I had like a cup of orange juice at the school cafeteria with it to kind of help. So that's what I would say. I'm not 100% sure that it's something, but as I was reading, I was like, it kind of sounds like it could be. So I think it's worth exploring. I mean, the blood work would just say yes or no.
Yeah.
So if that's something you're able to do, I'd look into it.
No, yeah. And me and my mom, we've been trying to, and but we just haven't had the time yet. But she also wants that for me too. Like she wants me to get my blood tested just because she knows even on days like when I wake up feeling very lightheaded, like fainting almost.
Yeah, so like lightheadedness is a big symptom of that. So like when I was reading up on it, and I also knew somebody in college who experienced it, and it's like I look at you train, I'm like, she should be running these times. There's what you want to run, and you just seem like you can't, no matter how hard you run.
Exactly.
And that is not a lack of effort. Sometimes that is just a nutritional thing, and you don't do anything wrong. You just have that. Like you're kind of predisposed to have it. So I think it's something to look into, and then trying to implement some of the small dietary things. Like if it is just, hey, I'm gonna get a coffee every other day, or drink half a coffee, and try to up the other stuff. Which, as somebody who drinks 2 cups every day, usually I have my Celsius right there. I'm not good at it either, but I would say trying to look at that. So
yeah, I will. I'll definitely get my blood tested because, like I said, I've been wanting to do it.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if that is the case, I would honestly just be happy, just in the sense that like there would be a solution to that, and I would actually maybe start seeing the results in my training.
It just like gives you an answer to the problem that you've been seeing for a while, because it's not a lack of effort. So
yeah, exactly.
Okay. I think that's worth looking into. So that is what I've got, just a little bit of kind of looking at what I've recognized in her, as well as some of the athletes. I feel like it's a pretty regular thing in my sport, so trying to recognize that better and researching more about it. My college coach was big on it, maybe getting them all tested if I can, just stuff like that to try to be more aware of it. And I never experienced it, so I don't recognize the signs, but my assistant coach does and had that problem, so he's very good at recognizing it as well. So I would have had him to have this conversation with me as well, but he's out of town, so I feel like I learned a lot more just by reading the content, and having conversations will definitely be good moving forward with athletes.